welcome back to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. We're talking about data analytics and data strategies at the edge. We're talking about specific programs we'd like to highlight here. Khalidar, I'm going to throw it over to you at Equinix. Give us an example of a specific program that you'd like to highlight for the listening audience.
Yeah, sure. We are currently at Equinix jointly working with Dell, Cameron's group, as well as a company called Lucid and Nokia and VMware on a platform called Analytics Anywhere. And the whole idea behind this Analytics Anywhere platform is to allow different agencies or groups to share not just data, but also algorithms, share data and algorithms with each other. And they can do it in multiple ways. They can share data and algorithms in a federated way, where basically if an organization doesn't want to ship their raw data out, you can ship the algorithm to where that data is. So I would like everyone to remember the term federated AI. I think that is something that's going to be increasingly more and more AI will be distributed or federated. So that is something we do that. And the second thing we do in this Analytics Anywhere platform is we have an AI marketplace. So to basically double click on what Melvin was saying, what we allow for you to do in this AI marketplace is to actually bring data and algorithms from different parties and train and create a model. But more importantly, what we do is that we keep track of the lineage of what data sets were used, what starting point of other models, AI models were used as a starting point. And we actually keep track of that in a blockchain ledger so that subsequently you can go and say, okay, I'm using this AI model. What's the lineage of the data and other models that were used so that then you can make sense out of it so that you know exactly what this model, what biases it has, and explainability of how this model was created is actually provided. And the last thing we do in this is that no code, low code. So we have, as Cameron mentioned, it's a visual way of very quickly going and get insights, combining data from many different sources, and also automating the generation of many types of reports. So this platform actually supports that. So federated AI, AI marketplace, and a low code, no code enterprise grade platform, all of that has been packaged. And now this is available for various agencies to come and do a test drive. So they can kick the tires on this, check it out, and then we can take it from there.
Interesting concept there, and particularly the federated AI. Really like that angle, and I'm sure that's being widely used these days. Eileen, how about the U.S. Air Force? Could you give us an example, either there or the Space Force, of a specific program you'd like to highlight?
Well, I want to go back to Melvin's investing in our people. And so one of the entities or programs that we have launched is a series of datathons to bring our airmen and guardian into the process to really solve some of our biggest challenges. And our first datathon, we partnered with the Department of the Air Force has an AI accelerator at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So we have Airmen and Guardian there working with some of the smartest people in AI, and AFWorks, which is the innovation cell of our department. And together, our first problem set was a very manual process on scheduling aircraft. And our airmen and guardians, people that had never been assigned together, virtually worked together in over a 3-day datathon in a competition format, actually created a minimum viable product to automate that process with a 92% accuracy rate. That capability is in production today. So it gives us the opportunity to really take functional experts with data experts to really drive change and fuel innovation. We just wrapped our second datathon, which really was focused around how to really increase the quality of our data. And we're prepping for our third one right now. But it's really exciting because we get really innovative ideas from the field and it gets to a strategic level very quickly.
Interesting concept there, and had not heard that term. And it sounds like, I think I heard you say virtually, right? Where you're tapping into all those minds across probably the globe and bringing them together virtually to create these products.
Absolutely. Our first Datathon winning team actually had never been assigned together. We're in different time zones and they brought different expertise, but together their solution was super smart, innovative, and it helps us work more efficiently. So it drives performance.
Fantastic. Dr. Greer, you all, again, I think about Intel and I think about every microchip that's in every single aircraft and every other device across the globe. Can you give us an example of a program where you all are sort of pulling all these concepts, these techniques together to do this analytics at the edge?
Luke, Intel is very excited about our contribution to mission capabilities in the federal government. And there are three really great places where we've done fantastic work on behalf of the agencies and the mission. The first, of course, is in health and life sciences. So, we're still in a pandemic. We've been very, very focused on being able to drive COVID-19 detection, testing, and being able to help with the supply chain associated with the deployment of vaccines. And so our work with HHS and NIH has been instrumental in moving the needle and being able to make progress against this pandemic. The second is in the DoD. It's really great. We have been able to use our lessons learned from our Mobileye autonomous driving capabilities to support DoD investigations in autonomy and robotics. And the Army, as well as the Marine Corps, have been looking very closely at what kinds of advancements that we've been making in autonomy and robotics so they can be applied to support warfighter logistics and readiness. We're really excited about that. And then the last one is really around this concept of food as medicine. And the work that we're doing with the various agencies, USDA, and FDA, and others, around how to improve the ability to distribute and get folks out of food deserts and get them high quality food, and turn the tide away from increasing the budget on remediation of health disparities after the fact, and start using food as a medicinal capability that helps drive healthy outcomes before they're resident inside a situation that can't be remediated. So, this idea around health, the use of our existing capabilities in autonomous driving to accelerate innovation in warfighter logistics and readiness, and being able to support food as medicine. These are three examples and use cases where we're really excited about our contribution to mission capabilities at the edge with analytics.
Outstanding triple example there of various very important activities. And we certainly thank you and everyone else for all the work on the pandemic and everything else that you're doing out there. Sanjay, you all have been on a tear over the last 18 months. I'm sure you have numerous examples. Give us one or two there that you'd like to highlight that you've been able to take some of this capability and bring it to the edge and perform the extended, new, evolving mission of the SBA.
Yeah, definitely, Luke. So let me start with a data sharing example. So as most of us probably know, under the Open Data Act, all agencies are expected to publish their data sets. And guess what I found out when I joined the SBA back in 2017? Those data sets were published as PDF documents. Now, if anybody who's done anything in the data world will very soon recognize that they are not machine readable. Yes, you've done a check mark exercise of saying, yes, we have published a data set, but it's simply not machine readable. So there are solutions in the marketplace today, something called CCAN, which stands for, it's an open source data sharing portal, Comprehensive Knowledge Archive Network. That's what the CCAN acronym stands for. But the simple English is it allows you to publish your data sets, and those are consumable via APIs. So it is now directly accessible via machine and able to consume the data, and also perhaps have the data refreshed. PDF documents become stale even before they are posted on the website. So that was one initiative that I did early on, because I think we've heard on the panels here, the ability of data by itself is less. It is more important when you share it and you cross it with different data sets across domains and see what correlations, if any, exist here. So that's one major initiative that I think I'd like to see more of in the federal world, where more and more agencies will publish their data sets in a machine readable format using things like CCAN as an example. Because ultimately we talk about public-private partnerships and leveraging the large data sets the federal government has. But unfortunately, if they are published in a manner like the PDFs, which is most organizations and federal agencies do, yes, they can be consumed, but that's not an easy consumption model. So that's one example, which I think is a very foundational example. Let me touch upon another example on visualization and analytics and visualizations. So data by itself is like zeros and ones, right? You know, by itself, it's very difficult to follow and understand what it means. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking large data sets, ultimately it's a visualization that help you grasp what is it really conveying. So let me give a very, very simple example that we did, again, foundationally. We created the United States map, and we provided the ability, I mean, again, the map's available, you know, as a data source. And now you overlay program performance data on the map. And so now you can visually see how your program is performing against how your program is performing against the sort of the geographical sort of layout. That is hugely illuminating. And the final piece I should add to that is the fact that most people on the Hill are not necessarily interested in zip codes and states. What they are interested in is my congressional district. Sure. So guess what? We created a congressional district map. And now we can put any program performance data overlaid on that congressional district map. And now you can visualize and see what activity is happening by congressional district. Again, very, very powerful things, very foundational things from my perspective, but they have a huge impact in the recognition of the value of data and what that can do and how it can be consumed. So hopefully those are pretty illuminating examples, Luke.
Absolutely, and be able to visualize that through various sets of lenses, I think super important. Cameron, how about at Dell? A lot of different activities going on there across the community. Give us one example that you'd like to highlight.
Yeah, Luke, thank you. I'll tell you, I'll give you an example that'll hopefully take that data as bake, and I'll make you a BLT and give you some full service here.
Okay.
What you've heard across all of the constituents on the panel are these individual discrete capabilities that ultimately create mission value. But I'll give you one example. Ramesh, I promise you I won't break security from a classification, but Eileen, I love the Air Force. I got to highlight this because it's brilliant. If you look at everything the panel's just talked about, Luke, what you've seen is segments of an overall community effort to really build a solution in what we call cloud adjacency. So let's walk this through. If you look at what the joint forces are doing with Joint All Domain Operations, or JADC2 as well, the Air Force really leaned into this heavily with their Advanced Battle Management System and ABMS and what's going on with high capacity backbone. We literally took every concept that is being discussed today, the federated analytics, the federated data out at the tactical edge. Literally, tactical edge in this case, Luke, can be air breathing platforms, flying platforms, base platforms, whatever the case is. And this is in operations today. And this is what is so humbling, but really prideful to serve in this capacity. We have data all around the globe that has to be analyzed in near real time, because Luke, you know, we still can't solve for the speed of light, right? That's a science problem we're still all waiting to solve. But those analytics are being done in near real time. Those data outputs, that analytic output is being given to the combatant commanders and to the Air Force leadership in near real time, so that they can make decision criteria. Because as we know, it's all about speed to decision, and the Air Force uses the OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, and act. And that OODA loop is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So we're creating decision advantage for not only the commanders, but going higher up the policy level for Capitol Hill and people to make better mission-based decisions in near real time. I'm very proud of that work, because the type of data we're talking about, Luke, is in that exabyte, yottabyte stage. But when the Air Force needs it back in country, we can surgically now decide what data needs to be collected, and using the brilliant capabilities that Equinix brings, we can literally move that data from just about anywhere around the world back to the United States within hours, not days. We're not, yanking hard drives out in Kandahar or any of these places, shipping them back, and it's a 3-month, before the analysts get post-mission analytics. We're talking the same day, same week. And this is all because of the great work that the Air Force pioneered with Kessel Run, the tanker refueling application that Eileen talked about, that we're now getting analytics distributed at the edge. So very proud of that fact. But what it illustrates, Luke, is in the cloud adjacency space, it's going to take all of us to rally as a community to support that mission outcome, which is so precious.
Cameron, it's a fantastic use case. And since you cited the Air Force, let's go back to you, Eileen, and talk about challenges, right? As we're looking at bringing these capabilities way out there on the edge, very powerful analytics, a lot of data being collected. What are the challenges that you find yourself facing there?
I'm going to go back to what Melvin said. There is a true investing in people, and there's a true war on talent. So upskilling our workforce is a critical component, and we're doing that in the department, whether it's a graduate certificate program at our Air Force Institute of Technology, which started as a pilot, whether now we're in year 2 of that program, or short courses, long courses, our academy actually offering data science as a major and minor to help our soon to be commissioned cadets into our officers corps, bring that capability into all mission areas. But it's not about one thing, it's about building that pipeline of talent moving forward, intern programs, etc. We have to be all in to develop that talent throughout the component, or it impacts our mission. So we're making those very targeted, laser focused investments in our people. So I like to say people first, mission always. It's really about getting our people piece really aligned up, not just today, but the pipeline moving forward is critical.
Right. I call it the new arms race, if you will. Kaladar, how about at Equinix? Top challenge that you see folks facing out there?
Yeah, I agree with Eileen. I think educating workforce is definitely something which is important, and it's a challenge right now. There's a shortage of data scientists. And I think one thing I would like to add is that increasingly more and more people are beginning to use open source libraries and also pre-existing models that others have built. So going forward, I think getting a handle on that with respect to cybersecurity threats will be a challenge, because people can actually skew your models based on the type of data they use to train it. And so I think that is the extreme area that we are definitely worried about. The second thing that we are worried about is its governance. Technology can help, but ultimately, end of the day, there have to be templates that allow various organizations to share the data and have SLAs associated with the quality, and how do you arbitrate when that quality is not there when you're sharing this data. So the whole framework for having governance model for allowing people to share data also, I believe, is not quite there. And now you are beginning to see different organizations coming up with these governance models, which I think will be very valuable. So those are two areas, definitely, I would say, we are seeing challenges right now.
Integrity of the data, very important. We're going to take another break, and we'll be right back here. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network.